Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about Introduction to EAP course, which stands for English for Specific Purposes. It is an approach to language teaching that focuses on developing language skills in a specific context related to a learner's field or area of interest. The approach is based on the principle of needs analysis, which involves identifying the specific language and communication needs of learners in their professional or academic context. This information provides an overview of EAP and its relevance to teaching. Let's talk about defining EAP. EAP is a type of language teaching that is designed to meet the needs of learners in a particular context or field. The term EAP was first introduced by Strevens in 1969, who defined it as the total educational effort made for a specific purpose. EAP courses are designed to be relevant and authentic to learners' needs and provide them with the language and communication skills they need to succeed in their professional or academic pursuits. Let's talk about principles of EAP. EAP is based on the principle of needs analysis, which is the foundation of designing an effective EAP course. Needs analysis involves identifying the specific language and communication needs of learners in their professional or academic contexts. It is a systematic process that involves gathering information about learners' goals, expectations, and background. The information gathered through needs analysis is used to design a relevant syllabus and select or develop appropriate materials. Another principle of EAP is learner-centeredness. EAP courses are designed with the learner's goals and needs in mind. The approach is goal-oriented, meaning that learners are provided with the language and communication skills they need to achieve in their specific goals. EAP courses are also characterized by their flexibility, which means that they can be adapted to meet the changing needs of learners. The next stage is characteristics of EAP. EAP courses are characterized by their focus on language skills that are specific to the learner's field or area of interest. This means that the language and communication skills taught in EAP courses are relevant to learners' professional or academic contexts. EAP courses are also characterized by their use of authentic materials and tasks. Authentic materials are materials that are used in real-world situations, such as workplace documents or academic texts, or simulate real-world situations, such as writing or a report or giving a presentation. EAP courses are also characterized by their learner-centeredness. Learners are encouraged to take an active role in their learning and to identify their own language and communication needs. This helps learners to become more independent and self-direct, which is an important skill in the modern workplace. Now we are going to talk about the relevance of EAP. Teaching EAP is a relevant and important approach to teaching English for several reasons. Firstly, it is tailored to the specific needs of learners, which makes it more effective than teaching general English. General English courses aim to develop language skills that are relevant to everyday communication, whereas EAP courses focus on developing language skills that are specific to learners' needs or area of interest. The second reason for learning EAP that it provides learners with the language and communication skills they need to succeed in their professional or academic pursuits. This is particularly important for learners who are studying or working in fields that require a high level of English proficiency. By equipping learners with the language and the communication skills they need to succeed in their professional or academic pursuits, EAP courses can help to improve their career prospects and opportunities. Thirdly, EAP courses are designed to be relevant and authentic to learners' needs, which makes them more engaging and motivating than general English courses. By using authentic materials and tasks that are relevant to the learner's professional or academic contexts, EAP courses can help learners to see the particular application of the language and communication skills they are learning. EAP is also relevant to teaching because it is adaptable to different teaching contexts. EAP courses can be taught in a variety of settings, including universities, language schools, and corporate training programs. Let's talk about one branch of EAP, which is English for academic purposes, or EAP for short. Is the English which is needed to study or conduct research using the language. It is commonly associated with the preparation for undergraduate study through short 4 to 12 weeks pre-sessional courses, ones which take place before the study begins, so many other EAP contexts can exist, including courses to prepare students for postgraduate study, longer courses such as foundation year programs, and courses which take place at the same time as the study called in-sessional courses. The development of EAP, the term of EAP was first used in 1974, when it was a minor branch of English language teaching. It has grown enormously in the years since, mainly due to the internationalization of higher education and the increasing use of English as the language of academic knowledge exchange. EAP has had its own professional body since 1972, originally called SELMOUS, Special English Language Materials for Overseas University Students, which changed its name in 1989, and it's now known as the British Association of Lecturers in English for Academic Purposes, which supports the professional development of English for academic purposes. EAP has its own professional journal, the Journal of English for Academic Purposes, which was first published in 2002. Now, let's talk about a family tree of ELT. Another way to understand EAP is by viewing it in the family tree of English language teaching. As short below, Hutchinson and Walters in 1987 has worked out a tree. ELT can be divided into English as a mother tongue and English as a second language learner or English as a foreign language, depending on whether it is studied in an English-speaking country or not. EFL and ESL are sometimes referred to by other names. For example, EAL, which stands for English as an Additional Language, and ESOL, which stands for English for Speakers of Other Languages, in difference to the fact that for many learners English is not the second but the third, fourth or more language they have learned. ESL and EFL can be subdivided into General English and English for specific purposes. General English, which is mainly for exam purposes, is the form learners are most familiar with, and since it is the kind of English taught in schools, due to the fact that most GE students are too far from real communication in English to have any real need to study it. General English is sometimes referred to as TENOR, which is Teaching English for No Obvious Reason, which directly contrasts it with the ESP, for which there is a specific purpose. ESP can be subdivided into English for occupational purposes, for example, English for business or English for law, and English for academic purposes. Now we are going to work out the diagram below outlines and family tree. Let's talk about general and specific EAP. EAP itself can be subdivided according to whether its content is general, for general academic purposes, or specific, for ESAP, short for English for specific academic purposes. Whether an EAP course is general or specific will often depend on the students in the class. If they are students who study or will study a range of disciplines, then the course will usually be more general. However, if the students study or will study a common discipline, for example engineering, then the content will often be more specifically tailored to their needs. For example, by including laboratory, report writing, and many other works. Many EAP teachers and writers consider EAP to be synonymous with the study skills, since these courses cover areas such as note-taking, referencing, and taking part in discussions, which are traditionally seen as study skills areas. Sorry for break, and let's continue with the general and EAP differences. The differences between EAP and General English has been briefly outlined above. As mentioned, GE is the form of English learners, and beginning EAP teachers are usually most familiar with. Understanding how General English and EAP differ will assist students and teachers as they transition from the former to the later. Two fundamental areas of the difference are the aims of the courses and reasons for study. The aims of an EAP course are to meet the needs of particular learners. This contrasts with GE, which has the aim of improving overall English ability in different areas: reading, speaking, vocabulary, and so on. The reason why students study EAP is because they study or plan to study another subject in English. They may need to study EAP in order to gain admission to university. General English, on the other hand, is studied because it is a compulsory course. It can be at school or university, or because its interest seems them, adult evening classes like. A third difference shaped by the previous two is the focus of the course. Unlike General English courses, which are level-driven and focus on language, EAP courses are driven by needs and focus on the learner and the situation itself. A needs analysis is a core component when designing any EAP course. Another difference is the time frame. EAP courses tend to be very short courses covering a fixed time frame, for example 4 to 12-week pre-sessional courses. General English courses, in contrast, can be more flexible and may cover many years of study. As a result of the short time frame and reasons for study, EAP courses tend to be very high stakes, with entry to university depending on the result, while General English courses are much lower stakes. There are also a difference in terms of skills focus. EAP courses tend to devote more time to reading and writing, since these are the most important skills for academic study and for learning and assessment at university. In contrast, General English courses tend to give more time to speaking and listening. The text types and approach also differ. EAP generally uses authentic academic texts, which are genre-based and because of their complexity tend to be explored more fully. General English texts, in the other hand, are often chosen because the topic is interesting and are usually not explored in great depth. They tend to be conversational or social in nature. The form of expression is another area of difference. In EAP, clarity and objectivity are praised, in contrast to GE, for which self-expression and creativity are usually important. Another difference is the role of the teacher. In EAP, the role of teacher and student are usually more equal. The teacher brings language expertise and knowledge of teaching to the classroom, while students may be more knowledgeable about their own specialist subject, which will be important if an EAPga approach is used and the text contains subject-specific information. This situation is different from a GE course, for which the teacher is seen as the language expert. A final difference is the range of learning skills involved in EAP. There will almost always be a strong emphasis on study skills, in particular learner autonomy and critical thinking. In GE class, by contrast, there may be no focus on learning skills. If learning skills are covered, they tend to be limited to language learning and may not be a significant part of the course. A summary of these differences is given in the table below. In short, EAP is the English which is needed to study and conduct research using that language, seen most often in short pre-sessional courses to prepare for undergraduate study, though also occurring in many other contexts. EAP has developed rapidly since the term was first used in 1974, and it now has its own professional organization and journal, which will ensure the continued development. In terms of English language teaching, it is viewed as a branch of ESP and differs markedly from general English. EAP itself comprises a general form, which is the one that most of these websites covers, as well as the specific form of it. Thank you for your attention.